Hi everyone, this is Rachel.
And this is Christine. Welcome to The Thrive, a podcast for working moms.
And we're talking to all of the moms out there, working from home, working a 9-to-5, working as a CEO of your household, because at the end of the day, all moms are working moms.
And we invite you to share in our stories, celebrate the victories, laugh through the tough times, get advice, and to know that we aren't alone, to thrive in our everyday life.
Hi everyone, this is Rachel.
And Christine.
Thank you so much for tuning in for yet another episode of the Thrive Podcast for Working Moms. This is episode number 6, and we are so excited to be doing things a little bit differently today.
We have our very first guest with us today. Laurie Ressler of LVR Portraits is in the house, and she'll be sharing with us about her business, her family, and some of her latest projects.
Yes, we are so excited to be sharing our platform with Laurie today, another working mom, and she's local to Lancaster. I cannot wait to hear what she has going on. Laurie and I actually connected through the Inspire Business community, which I've mentioned on the show before. So if you have heard me talk about it and you're interested in learning more, you will definitely want to keep listening because we have a very special offer coming up later in the show.
Yes, absolutely. Stay tuned for that offer, and let's get started with Laurie. How are you guys?
Thanks for coming. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
So I thought we would start with our love it and don't before we get into talking more about Laurie and what she does. So, Rachel, do you have a love it or a don't?
I love that we do this every week because I always have something random that I'm like, oh, I just can't stand this, or something that I really like. I actually shared today, I did an Instagram live, not a live. It was just an Instagram, just a story. I get them all confused. There's so many different ways to share. No, it was just a story. I had just pulled into Costco, which is one of my favorite things. Well, I guess I'll just say it's my thing that I really like. I like the big parking spaces. I like that I have lots of space to unload my stuff. And if there's, if it's a windy day and my 2-year-old manages to open the door, I don't have to worry about paying for someone's door to get replaced.
Let me just throw out here, that is why you probably need a minivan. I'm pushing very hard to get a minivan. And I told my husband it's because the door won't swing open.
No, I don't know if I'm ready for a minivan. Okay. But I just like that their spaces are big enough. Like once or twice, she's not supposed to be able to open the doors, but like anything you tell her not to do, she wants to do.
Don't underestimate
So the other day,
Reagan.
she somehow got the back door opened in a parking lot, and I was like, oh, thank goodness no one was parked next to me. But at Costco, if someone is parked next to you, at least you have more space. So
I didn't realize
my thing that I really liked.
So their spaces are just bigger in general than others. You think?
Yeah, I think their spaces are bigger because they have the lines where your car should be, and then they also have you know how they have the double, it's double lined. I think they have bigger parking spaces.
Are you a Costco fan, Laurie?
We are a Costco family for sure. Although my husband is the one who does a lot of the shopping in our family. He loves shopping, and I don't really love shopping. So he goes to Costco at least once a week. And
that's awesome.
That would be my favorite
all the
thing.
Good deals, and I'm like, hey. And he often takes a kid or two with him, and yeah,
that's so
great.
nice.
So I don't often get to Costco, but I love that we
that's
shop
probably
at
great.
Costco.
And it's probably nice for your budget. At least for us, I'm the spender. And if Kyle did all of our shopping, it would probably make our bills a lot less. Because I don't know, he doesn't get as distracted. Like at Costco, came home with a fleece Paw Patrol blanket the last time I was there. I was
He's like, Rachel, no more Costco.
Yeah, he just is able to put the blinders on and stick to the list a little bit better than I can.
It's true. I don't stick to the list. I always come home with extra books or toys or clothes or who knows what.
Yeah, and it's hard because they seem like such good deals.
Right.
But when you get 14 of them, it's probably not as good of a deal.
So I was thinking of a love it for myself, and I think I have a love it don't that go hand in hand. I love when my car is clean, and I really, really don't like having to clean it. I often, it's on my to-do list, but it gets pushed down every day where I'm like, okay, I'm going to get to that tomorrow. This car is gross. I need to clean it. But actually going out there and bringing the vacuum into the garage or wiping it down, cleaning the windows, I'm just not a fan of that. And my husband is really good at it and actually just cleaned one of our cars last night. And I'm always just so impressed at how
good
well
job,
he does
Robert.
it. Oh, I love that. And then my car is always so spiffy, and I'm very thankful that he does it for me. But I love a clean car, and I hate actually having to clean it.
Well, that's a good one that goes hand in hand.
Love it and don't. Laurie, you were sharing you have a favorite thing?
Well, my favorite thing for this week, or a new thing, I guess, we just bought some bunk beds on Craigslist, which is fun. We love shopping on Craigslist as well as Costco.
Oh, that's great.
And we have 4 boys, and we have 1 set of bunk beds, and we needed another set of bunk beds for the other 2 little boys coming up. And so we found a really great deal on Craigslist, so we just carried it in off the truck today, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, we're excited to set it up.
So what are their ages? You mentioned that you have like a younger 2, so I'm assuming that the first 2 share the 1 set of bunk beds, and now the younger 2 will grow into the next one?
Yes, sort of. The first 2 are 7 and almost 6, 7 and a half, almost 6, and then 3 and a half, and then almost 2. So the 2 older are about 20 months apart, and then the 2 younger are about 20 months apart.
Okay.
Oh, that's so fun.
We had the 2 older together and the 2 younger together, but just a couple weeks ago, we did a little flip-flop and mixed up the ages. So we're testing it out to see how it goes. So.
Oh, that's so fun. Growing up, I always had to share with my middle sister, but I always thought it should have been different. I mean, not just because I wanted my own room, but I was a lot younger than my older siblings. Like, the closest one to me was almost 6 years older than me. And then my older sister's only like 2 years older than her. So it was like, why didn't they share? Like, they had similar bedtimes. I don't know. They were doing similar things. Yeah. They probably didn't want me around, like, being pesty.
But I tried to make my case to my mom, but nobody would listen to me.
No one listened. And I did just think of, on the flip side, as much as I love the big parking spaces at Costco, I just don't like the parking, like getting out of that parking lot. The one in Lancaster is a little tricky.
Oh, it's awful.
It's no matter what time of day, it seems like it's impossible to pull out. Like, and people want to take your parking spot right away.
Right.
I hate when I put my brake lights on and all of a sudden, like, people are like trying to get in and they're not giving me room to back out.
And I was there a few days ago, and while we were trying to back out, there were several buggies coming in, like only in Lancaster.
Oh, yep.
So I did, it was just very beautiful, actually, this like picturesque, here's the buggy, these beautiful horses coming through Costco. And I'm like, let me take a moment to enjoy this and not be annoyed that I can't back out right now. But it does get so congested there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if my husband was the one to do all the shopping and I didn't have to brave that parking lot. Yeah. So, Laurie, you shared a little bit about your boys. Do you want to tell a little bit about your family and where you come from? And
Sure, yeah. So my husband and I have been married for 10 years. It'll be 10 years this summer.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a big milestone.
It is, yeah. And we have 4 boys, as I said, 7, 6, 3, and 2, roughly. And I grew up here in Lancaster County. I grew up in Strasburg, so I've lived here my whole life. So I'm a native to this area, and my husband as well. His family's all from like the southern end of the county. And
well, that's nice too, because when you have kids and you have family close by.
Yeah, we have a lot of family close by, which is really nice. Both of our parents are in the area, so it's really nice to have grandparents nearby to help with the kids, and it's been really
that's special.
That's awesome. And do they have cousins too? Do you have a lot of siblings, or?
My sister has 3 girls, so she has all the girls, and I have all the boys.
Aww.
And so their cousins are really close with them. Unfortunately, they don't live nearby. They're like up in northern Pennsylvania, so we don't see them as often as we would like. We just had a new baby on my husband's side of the family, so they will have, and there's another one on the way. So we'll have a couple more cousins coming up.
Does that mean a couple of more photo shoots too? Do you do pictures for your family, or not so much?
I do, yeah. So I actually did just take the newborn session for my new nephew.
Okay.
So a couple of weeks ago.
Exciting.
So that was fun.
Do you like that, or does that feel like added pressure if it's family members?
Oh no, I'm happy to do it for family, and I'm not afraid of saying like, well, I can do this much, but
right.
I can't do it all the time, or I can't do it every year. Or, it's fine. I don't mind.
That's good. I'm sure they just appreciate having you there for when you can, take a photo or two.
Yeah.
Nice.
And just like my siblings and my husband's siblings, like I don't really offer a whole lot to extended family or cousins.
Right.
And,
that could get out of control.
It just gets
especially in a big family.
Right? Everybody come out for photos.
Yeah.
Well, that was going to be my next question. How did you get into photography?
Well, I was actually a teacher for 7 years before we had children. I taught English as a second language and Spanish. And then when my oldest son was born, I decided that I wanted to stay home. I knew that I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And I decided when, I guess he was maybe 6 months old, I bought my first like professional grade camera and just kind of started as a hobby and started taking pictures and putting them on Facebook and that kind of thing. And the more like I started to enjoy it and people started asking me, hey, do you want to take pictures for my kids? And I was like, like I could. So I kind of started seeing that it could develop into a little bit of a business and kind of grew very slowly because that wasn't really my goal to start out. I didn't start out thinking, this is going to turn into a business. But then as it kind of grew, I realized that it was something that I love doing and I could go from there.
Had you always had an interest in photography when you were younger and growing up?
I mean, I was always taking pictures, but not really like the artistic side of things. I'd always loved being like creative and I was always kind of a creative person, but no, I wouldn't say I was always interested in photography.
Just kind of happened. And I'm sure if you were interested in newborn photos and you have a newborn, you're like, here's my subject. I can practice on him. And that helped to develop your talent.
Yeah, my second son was actually the very first newborn that I photographed with my new professional camera at the time. And looking back at those pictures, I'm like, oh my.
I thought they always so good. Though, because I feel like even with marketing stuff, like I don't really take a ton of photos, but I'll look back at like a flat lay that I tried to organize like a couple of years ago, just for my Instagram or whatever. And I'm like, that's just not great quality. Yeah. And I don't really have a great camera. Like I just got a better phone. I actually purposely got the Google Pixel because it has like a really great camera. Oh, nice. But I've noticed it's made a big difference just in my amateur Instagram photography.
That's great.
But I mean, considering you are a professional, you probably have an even bigger level of critique when you're looking at your older things compared to now.
Yeah. It is fun though to see like, oh wow, like I actually have learned a lot since since I started, and it is fun to see growth. And in the realm of photography, they always say, don't compare yourself to other photographers, compare yourself to yourself. Like compare yourself to your old work and see how much you have grown. Yeah. And that's like really the only way you should be.
That's cool.
Trying to grow, improving on what you have done, not comparing yourself, because there's always going to be people that are better at everything. Like you can never be the best in the world. So
and I love that quote. I know there's a quote that's like, don't compare. Are you thinking of the same
I'm thinking of a quote of comparison.
Don't compare your like first chapter to somebody's
last chapter.
Okay. Or like chapter 27 or whatever. It was like really cute and artsy, like a meme that I saw somewhere.
I thought of another comparison quote. I feel like maybe God told me this earlier today. Because I was like, why am I thinking of this quote? And it was that comparison, something like comparison is the thief of joy or something like that.
Yes, I've seen that.
Mm-hmm. It popped into my head earlier today. And what you're saying, even with yourself, comparing yourself to a younger version of you or your old work, even that and feeling like it wasn't as good or that being, not being so exciting, that's not where we should be in comparing ourselves and even to other people. So it's good to see that as your growth, but not to define who you are, where you are at the time.
Sure.
Yeah, that's so cool. I had a question about your business then. Sure. Do you mostly just do the newborn photography? Mm-hmm. Or, I mean, my girls aren't in that stage anymore. Do you do older kids? Do you do like, some people call them like milestone shoots? Like, what do you like to do and what do you offer?
My favorites are the newborns, and that is primarily what I do. I started out doing a little bit of everything here and there, but I just grew to love the newborn sessions. I love the artistic side of it, and I can be really creative with just the whole layout. Like it is kind of like a art form, just setting up the whole scene and the setup and posing the babies and getting the right angles and all of that. So that is definitely my favorite, and that's what I book the most of. I offer sessions up through a year for babies. I do milestone sessions when they're like 6 or 7 months old, called my sitter sessions, which is when they can sit up on their own. And then they also, I also offer like 1 year sessions when babies are turning a year old. So we like to have a little birthday celebration.
That's sweet.
And
do you do cake smashes?
I do.
I was going to ask, what are your favorite props or least favorite?
So Yeah, cake smashes are not my favorite. There's something that happens between 9 months old and 1 year old with the babies. All of a sudden just don't want to leave their mom, and they don't want to be with any strangers. And I will certainly do those sessions. But the newborn babies are my favorite. And after that, I would say like the 6, 7, 8 month olds are a lot of fun too, because they're smiley, but they're not like crawling out of the picture just yet. And so those are the main sessions that I offer. And then some people will come back to me for family sessions sometimes, but I typically just do newborns. So.
How is that working with, obviously if you're with a newborn baby, you can often be with new moms. How is that dynamic when a new mom comes to you? I'm sure they're still in that whirlwind of, I just had a baby and here's this life.
Sure. I love being able to connect with new moms and hearing their stories and sharing my own experiences. And I've been, and this is something actually that I was wanting to share with you guys. A lot of my clients, I have been noticing coming to me, have these amazing stories of either how they got pregnant or something that happened during their delivery where their life was at risk, and then there was like this amazing
oh my goodness, I love hearing like birth stories.
I know,
birth stories. And I just started seeing this trend of these like miracle baby stories. And I started thinking like, well, what could I do with this? Like, how could I share? I would love for people to be able to hear some of these stories and just think these miracles that every baby is, of course, but some of these just have an extra bit of little miraculous stories around them. So I started thinking about how I could maybe share their stories or connect these people or something like that. And then I also have my own miracle baby. My oldest son was born with a congenital heart defect.
Wow.
So he has had numerous heart surgeries, and he's doing amazing now. But we kind of went through... He's the 7-year-old? He's the 7-year-old, yep. But we kind of went through a couple years that were difficult with him, but we were so thankful for the support of our community and our friends, and just the grace that God gave us to walk through that time. And so I wanted to share our own personal story and also connect these other women. So I started a Facebook group just recently, actually, and I just kind of launched it like a week ago.
I think I saw that. In fact, I think I might have like added myself, and then it said like I needed to answer a question to join, and was like, oh no, I don't have a miracle baby, but like I just want to hear other people's stories.
Sure.
And I think I hit the back button, and I don't know if that made me join it or not.
I'm not sure. I think you might have joined, but that's fine. You're welcome to be.
Yes, I do
part
remember
of
seeing that. I think you posted it on like the Inspire page.
Yes, I did. So it's a group for moms of miracle babies and anyone who would like to share their story or be encouraged, or maybe they are in the middle of a difficult situation where they're still waiting for their miracle baby and would like to be encouraged by other moms' stories about their journey or the process that they went through. And so I just wanted to throw that out there. It's called Miracle Babies, Miracle Stories. So if you look it up on Facebook, you should be able to find the name of the group.
That's really cool. And where can people find your website?
My business name is LVR Portraits. So it's www.lvrportraits.com.
And where does the V come from? I know we mentioned earlier. Well, we were just chatting before we started to record. But yeah, what do the initials stand for?
Sure. The LVR are my initials. Laurie is my first name. Ressler is my last name. And then Van Wormer was my maiden name.
Okay.
Not an important question, really, but when you had to pick a name, was that something you really thought about, or that was hard for you to come up with a name for your business? I'm always interested in how people land on a name.
I probably didn't put a whole lot of thought into it at the time.
Like, I just need a name. We got to figure something out.
And I liked that my initials, because I wanted my brand to be who I am. I didn't want it to be a name that was not me. So I was like, well, and I didn't want my actual name. I didn't want it to be like Laurie Ressler Photography. I don't know. So I was like, well, maybe I'll just go with my initials.
Yeah. Oh, that works so well.
So it worked out well, and it has stuck. But
yeah, and I feel like it rolls off the tongue. What's funny is, like you said, you didn't want to like use your whole name, and a friend of mine in my mastermind group just had the same problem. She wanted to like rebrand and had such a tough time coming up with a name. And then she ended up just using her first and her middle name.
Oh, there you go.
Because she was afraid that no one would be able to pronounce her last name or that people would ask all these questions.
Yeah.
And it was just so funny going through this whole brainstorming process. I think everyone in our group threw out like 47 ideas and she goes back to just using her name. But then somebody
all
was like,
part of the
what's
process.
your, like it took like 3 days for someone to be like, well, what's your middle name? So it was just ironic that you mentioned that. And I wanted to just, you know, as you mentioned about the miracle babies, I don't have like a miracle baby story, but earlier this fall, or it might have just been in like January. I don't think it was that long ago. I had been following just like a miracle baby story on Facebook. Someone local had a son who, I don't remember what the actual complications were, but they created like just a Facebook page to give people updates and for anyone to join if they wanted to help pray for their baby, and they would give specific updates and requests every day. And it was just amazing to just go through their journey with them. And this little baby is such like a true miracle. Like they said he would have like such a little chance of having a normal life. Like at first it started with like he would have severe brain damage. And then I thought, from what I remember, I think it was going to affect like motor skills or whatever. And they prayed and had such a community. I think there's probably like 2,000 some people in this group, which is nuts. And this baby is completely healed. Like he had like every test that they did, they would give like best and worst case scenarios, and he would do like the best case and better. Wow. So it was really, it was really, really neat. And so then when I saw that you created that group, I think that's probably why I wanted to join, just because I was encouraged just, I don't know, just knowing the power in prayer and just having community around you. I feel like even on a local level, maybe there's moms in that group or who join because they're still going through treatments or something. And maybe someone else in that group could give them the name of a doctor or something that would be, you know, huge help to them.
Yeah. So any sort of support or encouragement that they would like to gain from being part of the group would be.
And you know, like you mentioned being there and going through that with your son, you know firsthand the kind of support that meant a lot to you or what practically helped you in that journey. So being able to provide that with other people. And I love that it just kind of came out from your experience taking photos and meeting with these moms. And clearly God gave you this idea and who knows where it's going to go next, but that's so exciting.
Sure. And it was funny as I started thinking about making this group, and I thought, well, how, like, I don't have a miraculous birth story. Like, how am I going to connect with these ladies that have gone through these traumatic experiences? And then it hit me. I was like, oh, wait, yes, I do. Like, it wasn't, we didn't know about his heart defect before he was born. He was about 2 months old, but, and then he has had 4 heart surgeries. And so it all kind of came together. I was like, oh, well, there's a little bit of a broader scope of what a miracle
absolutely
baby is, like, so
well, that's really cool. I mean, one of the things that I wanted to ask, just aside from your kids and the whole mom life, as far as your business goes, I guess it does tie in because we are all about working and being moms. What would you say is like the toughest part of finding that balance or juggling, you know, working and having your kids? Is your studio at home, or how do you do that?
So my studio is in my house, which I love, and I also don't love. One of my likes and my don't likes. It is in my house, and my workspace where I do all of my photo editing and all of my computer work is kind of like in a very high traffic area of my home. So that can be a little bit of a challenge, that I don't have just like a designated time that's like just set apart for business. Like I'm kind of squeezing things in during nap time after the kids are in bed. When I do have a photo shoot, I get childcare. I have my mom or my mother-in-law or a neighbor or somebody who's able to watch the kids for me. But I do love having my studio right there in my home for several reasons. One, I really value my family, and I like that they are part of my business, and my business is part of my home. And I think it kind of creates like a homey atmosphere too when people come in. I say, welcome to my home. And, you know, like I want it to be a comfortable place for them to be. And then we go into my studio and we do the photo session. And a lot of times clients will go out and relax on the sofa or take a nap on the couch.
Especially those new moms.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I think I needed that. My newborn session, I didn't do newborn photos for my oldest. She's going to be 3, but for my youngest one, I don't know. Like, I think with the first one, we were like, we had just moved. We had just so much going on. We were paying for too many other things. I hadn't even thought about newborn photos. And with the second one, since it was like more planned, I felt like I had to do everything. Like I had to do this, I had to do that. And I had to do newborn photos. And I just had no clue. Like I thought we would go and like thought I would just, be in and out in an hour. And I think
Laurie's like,
I think that like I breastfed for like an hour before we even started because I like had the toughest time, and my youngest had like a complete like a lip and a tongue tie when she was born.
Oh, wow.
So it wasn't until I want to say it was like a couple days after that she was less than 2 weeks old when we took her we had to go to a plastic surgeon actually to have him do like the lasering.
Oh, wow.
She was just miserable to work with like that first week of life because the poor girl could not latch. And so we would try doing a bottle and she just couldn't eat very well. So but we got the pictures taken and I was amazed that like we got some good ones.
That's great. Yeah. So it's definitely a challenge balancing family life and business. And I've been challenged recently to just really be more intentional about setting aside time for my business and make sure that the kids are taken care of so that I can be focused where I am. But then when I'm with the kids, to be just totally focused with my family and when I'm with them.
How do your boys feel about your business and you being a photographer and all these babies coming over?
I mean, they're boys.
They might not
I don't know that they really care a whole lot.
They're like, oh, mom has to work. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, they like when grandma comes to play with them, or like, that's the exciting part.
Yeah.
Like, they get to go hang out with grandma, or they get to hang out with
That's
dad
good.
a little bit more. And
my girls
kind
were
of
thrilled
used to
that
me.
grandma was coming today.
So they love that, and they're used to seeing me just at my computer quite a bit, working on pictures. And a couple of my kids, my oldest son especially, he'll come up and ask me questions about like how I'm editing the pictures, and he's like, "No, how are you doing that? Or why are you erasing that part? Or what's going? Why is the baby's face red? Or like like different."
Aww.
So he's kind of like interested in that whole process, and so it's kind of fun.
That's cool.
But yeah, it's definitely a challenge balancing. But a quote that I have always loved, and it's a challenge to actually flesh out in my life. It's by Jim Elliott, and it says, "Wherever you are, be all there."
That is such a good one.
And so I'm always like, I always try to remind myself, like when I'm with my kids and we're playing, like they're wanting me to play a game with them or sit down and read books, and I need to just drop what I'm doing for a little bit and just be there for them and be focused on the moment. And my goal is to just be more intentional about setting aside time to work on my business so that I can then be more present with my family.
I feel like I know where you're coming from, because for me, I think as my kids have gotten older, I've noticed that it's more important to do that. Because my daughter is old enough now, she is on this kick lately. All she wants to do is play horses. And I can't just like give her a pacifier and like, it's different once they get older and they really want your attention, and they really want you to play and interact. And like, I can't just be like, oh, my horse is going to go take a nap. I have to be like, hi, what's your name? And they always have the same names. It's always like Spirit, and she uses all the horses from the Spirit show. So there's Spirit and there's Boomerang.
My kids love that show.
Yes, it's such a hit lately. And so like every time we play, I have to be either Spirit, or she does have like a random one that she's like, this is Gray Boy. And I'm like, well, okay, at least it's
the horse's
the right color.
name is Gray Boy.
Gray Boy. Yes. So
I love your daughters.
Really creative. So I either have to be Spirit or Gray Boy. And then I always have to be like, so hi, like, what's your name? What are you doing today? And it is so fun, like, now that she's playing on her own, like, it's so cute to listen. Like, I'll be in the other room and she'll be playing and I'll hear her say, like, no, you can't do that. Or, like, you're in timeout. I love it when she disciplines them. Like, it's so great. But it is hard. Like, you can't just do that, like, halfway. Like you have to actually stop what you're doing and you have to like be all in. You've got to really play horses.
Yeah.
So I have tried to also, be better about setting aside time. And for me, that was getting a sitter and getting out of my house because my kids are not old enough to occupy themselves yet. Like with a 1 and 2 year old, I had to invest in, okay, I'm going to set aside these days. And that way when I work, I can get a lot more done. And then I feel like I'm doing better work because you've probably noticed like you don't get as much editing done when you're trying to juggle both. Like if you can just sit and edit, you probably get through a lot more pictures.
Yep.
And then you probably feel a lot better about like the time you spend with your kids, even if it's maybe a little bit less.
Yep.
Like maybe you spent more time working, but you got quality work done. And then you got to actually like read some books or whatever, like with your kids and feel better about that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you don't have to feel guilty because you know, okay, well, tomorrow I have the day set aside to work on my business. So now I can be here and I don't have to be worrying about all of those emails that are waiting for me or all those photos that I need to catch up on. And
I feel like it's, my realm of being a teacher and leaving every day.
Must be so nice.
8 to 4. Well, it comes with pros and cons. And it's what you ladies are sharing is not something that is at all in my realm. I go to work and Nora is at daycare and that's what it is. And so the benefit of that obviously is when I'm at work, I can really focus at work and I know she's being taken care of. And it really helps to give that division and get work done at work time. And then when I'm home, I can be home, but then obviously I'm away from her longer. And so that part is a lot more difficult and I can't just stop what I'm doing for a little bit if she needs me or feed her lunch. And so that part is hard. So I have to try as much as I can when I'm at work to really be present, like you mentioned, and have my heart be there with my students. And then at the end of the day, I switch gears and then I'm with my daughter and she gets all my attention. So it's a different balance.
I did want to ask you though, like, because growing up with my mom as a teacher, I don't remember her doing a whole lot of work at home, but I do know as a teacher, you have a lot of stuff that you need to do outside the classroom, like, grading, even she teaches kindergarten. My mom has taught kindergarten for like 1 million years. And even at that level, like you still have to do grades. And I remember sometimes we would sit around in the evening and help her cut out like laminated things.
Oh, I love cutting lamination.
Yes, I love because you can just like, it's like wrapping paper, you can like slide the scissors. It's so great.
I would always tell like the administrative assistants, don't cut my lamination for me. I want to do it myself.
So now I know where to bring my lamination when I ever just cut it.
Drink wine or cut laminated things.
Yeah, because I always felt like I was being productive. I could sit and watch a movie.
That's true.
And cut lamination, and I was like, I can relax, but I'm actually doing
getting
something.
Work done.
Yeah,
work done.
But do you do a lot of that at home, or since you have Nora at home, do you? Well, I mean, and a husband. So do you do that in the evening, or do you try to get a lot of that done, like at the end of your day, or like in planning periods and stuff?
I'm trying to be better at getting it done during the day. During part of my planning time during the day, I have to pump, so that's a little bit less time I have to get work done. But I've been a lot better this year since I've been back from maternity leave at really using my planning time well. And I'll even sit in my classroom and eat lunch by myself and get work done, which I enjoy. I kind of turn the lights off and it's my quiet time. Even my students asked me about that today. I mentioned something about eating in my room and they said, why don't you sit with the other teachers? I said, you know what, guys? Sometimes I need a little bit of peace and quiet. And so I'll eat and get some lesson plans done. But just like you ladies, I'm sure, know that when you have that hour to get work done, you really want to use your time well. And so I just try to be very aware of that when I'm at school and not, I don't know, like listening to music and just starting to sing or walking around and aimlessly, I don't know.
To sing.
So I know I sometimes will listen to music and it distracts me. So I just have to be really diligent and present with what I'm doing so that I can get it done, because I know that I don't want to have to do it over the weekend and I don't want to do it at night. So I can be with my family, but I'm still learning. It's a work in progress.
Oh, I think it always is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think one of the last things I wanted to ask you, because it's great that we're all local. And I mean, I love that people everywhere can listen. Like I had mentioned, I have a cousin that like lives a little further away and like, she's like, I listen on my commute. And I mean, who else, who knows who else might be listening since we're on iTunes now, which is so fun.
Sure.
But since you are a Lancaster local, I just wanted to ask, do you have like any favorite Lancaster places or things that you wanted to shout out? Because I feel like every week we're like, oh my gosh, I found a new place I love. Like we need to share about it.
We love to talk up Lancaster. I'm not originally from here. I'm from New Jersey, but I love learning about new places in Lancaster. I absolutely think this is the best
We both
city ever.
really like food too. Our husbands like food, so we like new restaurants.
Wait, side note, unrelated. Did I ever tell you this when Robert and I first started dating? He asked me if I was a foodie because he's a foodie, and I said yes. And he's like, oh, great, let's try all these foods, until my best friend told him, no, she's not a foodie. I think I misunderstood. Like, I like to eat, but he meant, like, do you know all the local dive places and stuff? I'm like, oh, no, I don't know that. So I'm still learning. If you have any good recommendations.
Yeah, I would say my husband's probably more of like a foodie, I guess, than I am. Yeah. But I mean, I like to go along and try the new places or whatever. He's like a craft beer foodie. Those are the places he likes.
Is that a foodie still?
I don't know. Anyway. What about you? Or is there anything local that you're into?
Well, we do not go out to eat a whole lot because we just don't have the time or the energy. And my husband's a teacher. And to me, like Friday night, like I'll come home and I'll be like, well, what are we going to do? It's Friday night. And he's like, I just want to go to bed.
Right? Amen.
Yeah, I get it.
And with 4 kids, it's often hard to, I mean, we love having grandparents nearby, but we don't want to overstay our welcome with babysitting and things like that. So
I also feel like depending on where you go, like just having 2 kids that actually eat on the menu now,
it
can get expensive. Like we tried Mod Pizza for the first time because it's brand new, at least to Lancaster, like the new one by the Target.
Oh yeah,
and we
I was
that
like,
place.
oh, like that'll probably be great. Like I know that like the cool thing is that you can get any toppings you want and it's all one price.
Oh, that's cool.
But it wasn't actually that cheap because like the price is pretty average. Like I think it was like almost $9, and they didn't really have, unless my husband ordered, so maybe I just missed the kids menu. But he was like, we can just get them a smaller pizza. But I was like, I don't know if they want the same thing, and the smaller one was like almost $6. So I was like, 2 small ones is $12, like versus just getting them a big one to share. So that's what we ended up doing. But yeah, very quickly it added up, and he's like, oh, I thought this was going to be like a $25 meal, and instead it was like $45. So yeah.
But yeah, so we love when we do have the chance to go out. I love checking out like new places in Lancaster City, like some of the like non-chain restaurants, some of the more local small business restaurants and things like that. So that's fun to go into the city, and I love how just the city itself is just turning into this really cool place to go and place to be, and like lots of like artsy places and art galleries and coffee shops, and
it does seem like so many more things are coming in. It's
filling
up. It's so fun.
Every time I drive through the city, I'm like, oh, that's new, or oh, I never saw that place before. We'll have to check that out.
Because growing up around here, like we never went into the city.
No, there was nothing in the city.
No, and
nothing.
Like my parents really aren't city people to begin with, but I don't feel like there was anything there that would have ever drawn us in. And, like, now there's all these cool places. And, like, aside from restaurants, like, the Tiny Town place. Like, my mom has offered to, like, take the grandkids there. Yeah. Because it's so fun. And, like, she's not a city person, but she'll drive in for Tiny Town. Given it is kind of on the edge. It's not really like you have to go too far into the city. But, and they've got, like, cupcake places and a lot of, like, kid-friendly, family-friendly places, which is so cool. Yeah. So
I just took my son 2 days ago. My 3-year-old, we went downtown to the Pottery Works, and we painted mugs together.
Was it just you and him?
Just me and him, a little mommy Sunday. So
do you try to do that with each of your boys?
Well, a couple years ago, when he was a baby, the 2 older ones had painted mugs, and so they have their own special mug with their name on it that every time we have hot chocolate, they have their mugs, and then he has this little brown thing from a from a yard sale, I think. And he's been asking, when do I get to paint my mug? When can I paint my mug? So I decided that this was a good time to do it, and so just the 2 of us went.
That's so fun. A milestone in your family. We talked about milestones, so like all your boys need their mug.
Yeah, so in a couple of years, the youngest one will
That's awesome.
Get to paint his mug, and by that time, the older ones will probably have broken their mugs, and we'll just all go as a family together.
Oh my gosh. So. This is totally random, but because you mentioned Pottery Works, when I was pregnant with Reagan, Kyle and I, we didn't have kids yet, so for a date day, we went downtown, and I was pregnant, so we didn't really want to go to any restaurants, or I couldn't have wine. So we did a fun date where we did the pottery place, and I made a piggy bank for Reagan. I was like, oh, this will be so cute. She's going to love it. And so as soon as her sister was born, I was like, oh, I don't have a piggy bank for the little one. And I wanted to decorate her room cutely. So I think I just got her one at Target. And anyway, Reagan liked that one better. So like all this time and energy I put into this cute piggy bank that I made while I was pregnant, she didn't even want it anymore. And she has like taken her sister's. So the other night we needed cash for pizza. It was like delivery and it was here. And I was like, oh my gosh, I ordered and I completely forgot I don't have cash. So I was like, check the piggy bank.
Rachel.
My sister has mentioned doing that before. Like, oh, I didn't have cash, so I just had to raid like Theo's piggy bank. And I was like, oh, I'll never do that. And I totally had to do it.
Hopefully you replaced it.
Well, we will.
Oh my.
The best part was though, he went to Reagan's piggy bank, which is actually the one she stole from her sister. So it has like a year and a half's less money because she only started using this one, when Rowan was born. And he was like going through it and we're trying to frantically get the money out. And he's like, she's got a lot of money. And I was just thinking to myself, like, if this one has this much money, think about the other one that's like 3 years old compared to like a year and a half old. It just made me laugh. And yeah, we'll definitely have to replace it.
The moral of the story, now we know where to go if we need some cash.
Well, I'm sure maybe that's my hashtag mom fail of the week.
I wasn't going to say it, but that's what I was thinking.
Ordering pizza without having cash. So, oh my gosh, that's too funny. I guess I wanted to ask before we wrap up today.
Sure.
You mentioned where people can find your website. Mm-hmm. Are you on social media and where can people find you?
Sure. I am on Facebook, LVR Portraits. And also on Instagram, LVR Portraits. So you can find me both of those places. And yeah, I'd love to connect with anybody and anyone who wants to be part of the Facebook group that I had mentioned as well with the Miracle Babies. Feel free to, you can contact me through my business page or just look it up on Facebook as well.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And we'll be sure to share some information about you on our Instagram too to help people get connected to you.
Sure.
Yeah. I wanted to mention we have a special offer today. We should have music for that, like a trumpet or something. Dun, 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 dun. Right? Okay. Well, special offer. Yes, special offer. Laurie actually came to us because we had a mutual connection. It was Inspire Business Community, which we're both a part of. And they do a lot of workshops and events for local mompreneurs. It's a business community, whether you do photos or marketing like I do. There's a person in my mastermind that has her own Young Living essential oils business. So all different types of people, walks of life, businesses, and there's a couple of really fun events coming up, and I have a code for you to save 20% off. The code is Thrive20. That's Thrive20, and it'll get you 20% off of any of the upcoming events and workshops listed on the website. So if you go to inspirebusinesscommunity.com, you can go to the events tab, and anything that's there to sign up for, you can get 20% off. So if you were considering, getting connected, if you've heard us mention it before, I know I've mentioned it a few times, just how much I appreciate my mastermind girls. If it's something that you've been considering, now's a really great time to jump in. If you don't want to attend an upcoming event, you can actually use the code towards a mastermind membership. It will get you $100 off a mastermind membership for next year. So
I want to join.
Yes.
I don't think that would work in my schedule, but
oh my gosh, it'd be so cool though if you could.
That'd be so fun.
Well,
we'll make our own.
Yeah.
You inspire me.
So yeah, check it out. Use code Thrive20 and get yourself 20% off, and maybe we'll see you at one of the upcoming events.
And Laurie, we just want to say thank you so much for being our first guest. We were so excited to have you.
Sure. I was honored to be here and honored to be the very first guest on your new podcast.
Our podcast. And you can't tell everyone who's listening, but we are smiling a lot. We are so happy to bring you yet another episode, just mom life and how we are juggling this all. So thank you for listening. And moms, in case no one told you yet today, you're doing amazing. Hey moms, we would love to connect with you this week on social media.
You can find us on Instagram at The Thrive Podcast or email us at thrivepodcastlancaster@gmail.com.
For more information on Rachel, you can follow her at Rachel Klein Creative.
And you can get to know Christina a little better at The Whistler Company. We would love to get to know you guys better, and we are always looking for new topics and ideas.